Thursday. I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. I am joining you live here in East Texas in my garden. It is gorgeous. I'm feeling good in the sun, the heat on my back, sitting out here in my garden. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a regular, welcome back. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Today is just a generic, basic garden Q&A. So if you've got questions, if you are not sure about what is going on in your garden, please reach out to me and let me know. All right. So I try to go live here on YouTube every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. I am live on Facebook on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central Time. So just in case there's any kind of confusion, those are my 2 nights a week that I go live. It gets a little crazy around here during what I call the spring rush. So the spring rush, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Mary's Heirloom Seeds, or maybe you're new to gardening, the spring rush is what I call when everybody goes, oh my gosh, I need seeds. We got to plant our garden. So that's when seed orders get a little busier, and we get a lot busier in the seed shop. So it takes me a little longer to get all these things done. But I'm here now, and it has slowed down a little bit, which is normal for this time of year because a lot of you have already planted your gardens or purchased your seeds. But today's topic is garden Q&A. So if you have questions about seeds, just comment below if you've got any questions. I'm always happy to hear from you. I'm always happy to see you guys here. So let me know who you are and who's joining me here tonight during my live chat. My live chats on YouTube are usually garden specific, whereas my Facebook lives, I have been going over, let's see, last night was the 15th week I've done it. And each week is a new batch of seeds that I share with you. And so I share links and I share information about different varieties that you can grow. And then I do a giveaway at the end. So I don't do a giveaway on YouTube, but I will have a seed giveaway posted to Mary's Heirloom Seeds tomorrow. That will be May 2nd. So I have had a couple questions, and I'll throw those out there at you. By the way, if you have any questions, just comment below. If I don't see your comment, there we go. I'm really sorry I missed your calls or I missed your emails. If you did send me an email, I had somebody that had already sent me an email, and they're like, oh my gosh, do you ever check your emails? And their first email was in my spam folder. So if you sent me an email, I apologize if I didn't get back to you. All right. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Caitlin, Jackie Jacks, Natasha, Alter Ego. Spring Rush is absolutely right. Jackie Jacks, cheers. Let's see. Sherry says, I notice every year that I wish I started seeds earlier, like around Christmas time. Ooh, that's a little early, even for me. Mima says, hello again, enjoying all these lives with you. Awesome. Hey, Inga, thanks for joining me. So if you've got questions during my live chat, you can always send an email. And as I mentioned just now, if you sent me an email and I didn't respond to it, please feel free to follow up with me. Maybe don't be rude about it. I do appreciate that. But sometimes I don't see the emails. It goes into the spam folder, but I do try to check that sometimes. So just throwing that out there at you. So one question I had on Facebook today was, do my seed planting guides discuss how deep you should plant your seeds and what doesn't transplant well? So that's a great question, and I wanted to address that today. So when you place an order at Mary's Heirloom Seeds, you have a printed planting guide, and it's very brief, basic seed planting information. And if you're just new to joining me, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm going to have a massive seed giveaway when we hit my next milestone of 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that'll be new. So the basic rule of seed planting is 2 to 3 times the width of the seed is how deeply you plant it. So some of these seeds, like lettuce seeds, are super, super teeny. And so those are just going to be almost surface sown with a light dusting of soil on top. Whereas like a bean seed or a squash seed, some of those are very large. And so you're going to be planting those closer to like the 1 inch mark. So that is the general rule of seed planting. Now, as far as what plants don't transplant well, that's a whole nother question. So for that one in particular, the basic, what I have to say is the basic answer is root crops don't transfer or transplant as well. So you want to direct sow most root crops. And then the next one is there are some that don't transplant as well, and those are like corn, melons, like watermelon. Those are ones that should be direct sown if possible. Jackie Jack says, "What's your thoughts on a chaos garden?" If you are not following me on Facebook, I will say this: I started a group. It is a Friends of Mary's Heirloom Seeds Facebook group. It is no nonsense, in that we don't allow drama, we don't allow rude behavior. It's just gardening, and it's called Mostly Feral Gardeners. Rhubarb and peppers don't like to germinate, in your opinion. That's a little different. Rhubarb and peppers take forever to germinate sometimes, but this was transplanting. The question was specifically. I have zero issues with germinating peppers. It just takes time. And I will share a little tip for that as well in just a second. So if you follow me on Facebook at Mary's Heirloom Seeds, follow my Mostly Fair Gardeners group. I'm a big fan of some beautiful firefly, or not fireflies, but dragonflies here. I'm a big fan of chaos gardening. There's a reason I call myself a feral gardener, because if you look here, none of my gardens are perfect. None of my gardens are necessarily what you would call pretty, like picture perfect. I've got chaos everywhere, and I like it that way. I don't need perfect. I need functional, and I need successful. So I need to be able to feed myself from my garden. It doesn't have to be magazine worthy. So if that helps, if that answers your question as far as chaos gardening, then yes, I'm all for chaos gardening. Now, as far as germinating peppers, I will say this. So the other day I had a tray of pepper seeds. They were planted in coconut coir pellets, the ones that we sell at Mary's Heirloom Seeds in like 25, 50, and 100. And I had very few germinate right away. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, because the tested germination rate on them is 85%. And it's the same batch of seeds I grew last year. And these should be growing really well. I should not have a problem with germination. And so I thought to myself, duh, take my own advice. So when you have the basic troubleshooting for seed germination is it's either too much water, not enough water, the soil is too cold, or there's a problem with the soil. Those are what I look at number one. And so I thought, well, this tray has been moist from day one, so maybe it's too much water. So I stopped watering that tray. I gave it about 4 days to dry out a little more, and then I watered the tray of coconut coir pellets. I didn't water the top. I watered the tray so that the pellets would soak up. And I had 90% germination within 3 days after I did that. So the problem was too much water was hindering germination of my pepper seeds. So there's an answer, there's a solution, and it's never going to be one size fits all, but I'm hoping that helps some of you. I just took my own advice and it worked. So that is definitely one thing that I recommend for peppers is too much water can definitely hinder their germination. Sherry says I started seeds outside or inside in January and February, and they're still small. I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong or if I'm expecting them to grow faster. If you started them in January or February, they should definitely be growing faster. If you're growing inside, you need a light and you need a heat mat. You can, but without. But I will say that if you want a successful indoor grow, you must have a heat mat and a seed starting light. You also have to fertilize them. Just because they're inside doesn't mean they don't need fertilizer. You need a liquid fertilizer for your seedlings, I should say, indoors every 2 to 3 weeks. A diluted version, but still, and they can thrive. I will say this as well. I've talked about heat mats, and most heat mats only get the soil to up to 10 degrees higher than the ambient temperature. If you are growing in a cold area, say you're growing in your garage and it's 30 degrees, that means your soil temperature may only be 40 plus degrees. That is not warm enough for most seeds to germinate. So there are some troubleshooting that you can do if you're starting seeds indoors. I actually prefer to direct sow most of my seeds. But if you are struggling, or if your seedlings are struggling, it could be that you don't have enough light, you don't have enough heat, you don't have enough nutrients in the soil, or your light is too far from your seedlings and you're causing leggy seedlings and they're not going to be healthy. So those are some factors to consider. Jeffrey says, I'm anxiously awaiting my cayenne peppers to sprout. Cayenne peppers are a hot pepper, so they can take a little longer than most. Sean says, same as me, plant it where it fits in. Absolutely. Let's see, that helps a lot. I'm glad. Hey, Jason, thanks for joining me. And Tammy. Inga says, I germinate more difficult peppers in a Ziploc bag with damp paper towel. That is a fantastic way of doing it. You can put them in a moist paper towel in a plastic bag, and you can put it on top of your refrigerator where it's warm. You don't need a heat mat, but that's for germination specific, not specifically about growing them. You will need a light for that. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. Sorry. I'm just looking at all these different things. Yeah. All right. So if you comment, okay, so I'll go back. I do try to keep my page family friendly. So please refrain from different colorful language. I sometimes use colorful language myself, but I also know that some of my teachers use this to teach their little ones. So just keep it family friendly and try not to recommend things that are not available at Mary's Heirloom Seeds. That is my rule on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I prefer that you don't recommend things that we don't sell, because I spend a ton of time teaching for free. I spend a ton of time answering questions. I spend a ton of time offering free information. And for that, I just ask that you don't recommend other companies or other seeds. Is it worth buying the expensive grow lights? I would say no, to be honest, Jason. Sorry, I'm trying to see your comments so that I can actually get to you here. So Jason, is it worth it buying the expensive grow lights? So I have a video on Facebook. I believe it's a live video, and I explain the different grow lights. I have tried cheap grow lights. I have tried expensive grow lights. I have tried LEDs. I have tried fluorescence, which I think is called a T5. My husband is the science guy as that goes, so he has been instrumental in sharing that information with me so that I can share that information with you. So I would say, if you have a large area to grow in, invest in the larger lights. Invest in a more expensive light. If you're growing for backyard purposes, I mean, this is what I call my kitchen garden. And I shared this with you the other day. If I'm just growing a handful of seeds to plant in my own garden, I'm not really worried about spending a fortune on grow lights. So no, in that case, I would say no. And if you're looking at, hang on, the sun is totally in my eyes right now, so I'm trying to see you guys. This is one of the detriments of going live outside. Hey, Jackie Stacks, thanks for recommending our page. And Jason, you're in my area, so you have a fairly large growing season. Now, for those of you in Michigan, for example, I'm throwing out Michigan because the other day we were talking about the May seeds of the month. So I just published the May seeds of the month, and I shared information about what you can do. If you're looking for a liquid fertilizer, by the way, for your seeds, we have Mountain Flower Compost Tea. It comes in a 1 gallon pack or a 5 gallon pack, and it's 1 tablespoon. So if you only wanted to make a half of a gallon, you could do a half of a tablespoon, super easy. If you want to do diluted, you could do a half of a tablespoon in 1 gallon and use that. So you don't have to use the whole container of it. So I highly recommend that. Do you see my gardens here? They're thriving. They're doing really, really well. And everything you see here is from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. We have Mountain Flower Compost Tea. mountain flower root boost, different organic methods of growing, which is companion planting and interplanting different things. So there's a lot to be a lot of offered here. But as far as grow lights are concerned, I would say that if you have a large space and you have a large operation, yes, those more expensive grow lights are worth it. If you're looking at growing a handful of seeds, a single tray of seeds, you don't really need all those expensive equipment. I have a T5 fluorescent, and it is, I think it's 4 bulbs across. I want to say it's 2 feet wide by 4 feet long. And that will give you a massive amount of seedling space that you can grow. So, and that's just one shelf that I have of my big shelf. So just to throw that out there at you, it was not necessarily a, I hear baby birds up there. Because it's a good quality light, I won't necessarily have to worry about replacing it. So definitely go with that one if that's something that you're looking for. I'd rather just grow it in that little space than have multiple lights on multiple shelves if you don't need it. All right, so let me go this here. Question, any suggestions on soil mixes, watering, or fertilizers for successful melons? I have grown them in raised beds similar to yours, and they are bland and small. So overwatering or too much water can give you a bland melon. And the problem with that is we're in East Texas where some days you get no rain and some days you get 3 inches of rain like we did yesterday. So that isn't always the case. As far as soil mixes go, I can tell you what I use. All these raised beds have compost, coconut coir, and perlite. That's what I use in my raised beds. Every single raised bed also has mountain flower, root boost, and azomite. Azomite is really good for good root quality, good root growth. So if that's something you're interested in, check it out. It's on my website, and I've got a couple videos of mixing the soil. So that's something that hopefully that helps you. Oh, yay. Keith says you just got our donation for your school garden. That's awesome. Sean says a lot of gardeners over here in the UK use grow lights to grow giant vegetables for shows. Absolutely. So again, it really depends. So I mentioned Michigan, and then I didn't get to finish what I was saying. My brain was like, whoop, squirrel. So the May Seeds of the Month Club, and I was like, these are varieties that you could plant right now. That's the cool thing about my May Seeds of the Month. Problem is, there are some people that still can't plan out or aren't going to plan out until the middle of May or the end of May because you have a shorter growing season. So for those of you that have a shorter growing season, a grow light would be fantastic. And my friend who works with me in the seed shop, we were talking, and it's like basically if you're in Michigan or Alaska, it would be probably difficult for you to grow some of these varieties right now, direct sowing. But otherwise, for the most part, if you are past your frost date, you can kind of start planting out right now. Hey, Christian, thanks for joining me. Inga says, can you use azomite instead of bone meal? Azomite and bone meal are two absolutely different things. So bone meal will give you calcium, and azomite is micronutrients. So if you look at your like your body, what you use for micronutrients versus macronutrients, a plant example is your micronutrients are your trace minerals, your macronutrients are your NPK. And so bone meal is absolutely different than azomite. You can probably use it instead, but they are different nutrients. Yes, and Sean says it gives you a good start. Exactly. And if you want to grow outside, if you want to grow inside to transplant outside, using a grow light is definitely helpful. Jackie Jack says, is it true that sunflowers help remove heavy metals out of the soil? Absolutely. Not only do sunflowers remove heavy metals from the soil, they also remove, it's called phytoremediation. It's where the plant will uptake some of the bad stuff in the soil, and then you don't compost that, you pull it up and you throw it out. So definitely one of those things where it's not something you want to compost if you are trying to remove the heavy metals. I actually donated about, I want to say 15 pounds of black oil sunflower seeds to a customer. I want to say it was Ohio. It was last year where they had the big chemical spill, and then they added more chemicals on it to remove those chemicals or to wipe out those chemicals. And then now you've got people in their gardens, their water's contaminated, their soil is contaminated. So I sent her a bunch of seeds to disperse throughout her community so that they could get their gardens up and running and hopefully remove some of those toxins and the hopefully repair their soil. So yes, sunflowers will definitely do that for you. Let's see, is azomite similar to green sand? In that it is a micronutrient, yes. It's not the same, but it is similar. I hope that helps. And the green sand that we sell and the azomite we sell are both micronized. And the difference is it's just a finer powder instead of like a granule or something like that. Let's see. Tammy says, I have the gene that makes me not really like cilantro, but I've heard it's really good for helping pull toxins from your body. Not sure if that's true or not. Maybe you could grow it and sneak it in your food. You can definitely grow it and sneak it in your food. I steer clear of the offering medical advice as far as removing toxins from your body, but I have heard that people that have the whole it tastes like soap thing, it just doesn't work as far as hiding it. So maybe it will work and maybe it won't. Jason, I'm glad you asked. Natasha says, I just planted more black oil sunflower seeds. Awesome. I love to hear that. So before I go, it's getting a little warm out here. And I really want to get planting some extra seeds now that it is sunny outside and not raining cats and dogs here. So in the description section of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide, which will answer some of your questions that you might have had. It will also include things like the May seed sale that I just shared in an email yesterday. And then if you sign up for my email, which I think there's a sign up list on there as well. I'm getting a little overheated out here. There is also a seed giveaway going live tomorrow. So if you sign up to receive my emails, you will definitely receive that as soon as it goes live. You can always send an email, like I said, to mary@marysheirloomseeds.com, and I will try to answer. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions while you were live here today. Hey, Joanne, thanks for joining me. That's okay. You're a little late, but that's just fine. So anyway, if you've got questions, send me an email. If you enjoyed my video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with all your friends. I do try to go live here and keep it short and sweet in the garden on Thursdays since I'm outside. I'm more dressed for the inside right now, and it is hot out here. So I'm going to go inside. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to rehydrate, and then plant some seeds when it gets a little cooler. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and happy planting.